As of right now, the baby's fine. She's a little overdue, but physically everything's fine.
Sarah Brady is concentrating on her unborn baby's health instead of on the attacks she endured allegedly at the hands of Catherine Smith.
When I had spoke with Katie Smith, she was a very trusting, friendly, intelligent sounding person. You would never imagine that there was anything offbeat about her story.
Brady says Smith told her she was pregnant too, but police say that was false. Inside her apartment, police say they found a pregnancy suit along with baby and medical supplies. Brady thought Smith wanted to kill her for her baby, and she says she had no other choice but to fight back.
It's a tragedy that Katie lost her life. And it's very unfortunate. And, we give our condolences to the family because at this time, I'm sure they need all the support that I've received from friends and family.
Part of the investigation for police includes Catherine Smith's past. In 2001, her father was sentenced to 20 years for sexually abusing her as a child. His case, however, is not getting a second look.
The matter has been reviewed twice, once in the Court of Appeals, once in the Supreme Court, and in both instances the judgment was affirmed. There was no reversible error, so it was a clean trial.
Brady says her maternal instinct got her through the alleged attack, and now she plans to tell her daughter about it someday.
I guess as time goes on and once the healing process is completed and we've put this behind us and we're able to move on with our lives, we'll be able to decide what we're going to tell her at that time.
Welcome back to another episode. This is Nyoka.
This is Rachel.
And we are
Operation Evil.
And we have that down now.
I think we got it.
Yeah. So today's a story that took place in northern Kentucky, in our backyards, basically.
Yahoo.
Yeah. I remember the story, but I didn't realize it happened in Kentucky. I don't know why. I think I saw an episode about it somewhere, and that's why I just didn't connect.
Maybe, yeah.
Or it happened to someone else too. Maybe it was a different case. I'm not sure, but either way. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Sarah Brady. She was Before I get into this, did you have anything that you want to say before we start?
No housekeeping.
No, none here either. I do have something, but we'll save it for the end.
Okay. Sounds good.
Back to it. Sarah Brady. At the time, she was a 26-year-old Northern Kentucky woman who says her maternal instinct gave her the strength to fight off and kill a knife-wielding woman who police suspect wanted to steal her unborn baby. So this happened in February 2005. Sarah Brady was 9 months pregnant with her first child and engaged to be married. She was 5 days overdue and expecting to deliver at any moment. One day, Sarah Brady received an unexpected phone call from a woman who said that her name was Sarah Brody. The woman said that there was a mix-up with their baby registries. And if I remember correctly, they were registered at Babies R Us.
Yeah.
Okay. So she said there was a mix-up, and she had a package delivered to her by accident that was actual Sarah Brady's. And she explained that maybe the mix-up was because their names were so close to being the same, and that she had registered there as well, and she's also 9 months pregnant. I think she said 9 months.
Yeah, I think when she talked to her on the phone or something, she told her that she was about to be induced.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, Sarah went ahead, and it's February 9th at this time, 2005. She went ahead and drove to the woman's house to retrieve her package. Inside the package, she found items that was on her registry, such as like bottles and a stuffed animal, things like that, little things.
Blankets.
However, there was no indication of who sent it. The woman said that her husband misplaced the shipping receipt that came with the package. So Sarah Brady thanked her for letting her know about the package, and she took it and headed back home. Now, Sarah Brody, and I'm saying that in air quotes, but you can't see me, was actually not the woman's name. Her real name was Katie Smith, and although she claimed to be pregnant, the truth was that she was not. Katie Smith was deliberately deceiving her friends and family and even her neighbors into believing that she was pregnant. She even went as far as to carry around an ultrasound photo of someone else's twins and wore maternity clothes filled with padding.
Did you see that she had worked as a nanny for years?
Yeah.
And that's how she got the photos.
Oh, I didn't know that's how she got the photos, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess she stole them. Maybe, some people put it on their fridge or whatever.
Yeah.
She probably just stole it off the refrigerator.
She probably did. Huh, no, I didn't. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we're going to go back to the whole package mix-up. So there was already a package mix-up, and Sarah went and got it from, I'm going to call her Katie now since that's her real name. But when she returned home a little later on that same day, Sarah receives a second phone call from Katie Smith saying that UPS had just delivered another one of her packages. This time, they chatted on the phone for about an hour. Sarah said, quote, "I just suspected that she was a very lonely pregnant woman. I felt sorry for her." End quote. That night, Sarah told her fiancé that she may have made a new friend. The next morning, on February 10th...
And they, on the phone, I don't know if you saw, but they talked about a lot of different things. How she had just... Sarah Brody...
Air quotes, you can't see them.
Yep. Had just moved to the area and was new to the area, and how excited she was to becoming a mother. So they had like a really detailed conversation.
Wow, no, I did not know what they talked about.
Yeah, so I mean, just so everybody knows the whole story, it's not... I think that Sarah felt like she knew Sarah Brody,
Right, and that she was a safe person, and they were connecting on this level of motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, she went as far as to tell her fiancé she made a new friend.
Right.
So the next morning on February 10th, Sarah goes ahead and drives back to the woman's house to pick up the second package. And then once again, it was an item from her baby registry. And once again, the woman said the shipping receipt was missing and insisted that Sarah stay and help her look for it. Which, that to me would be a red flag. That's kind of weird. But maybe not. I don't know. They just had this conversation.
I know. It's so hard to
yeah,
put yourself in her shoes.
It really is. So while the two walked around, Sarah notices an asthma inhaler on the nightstand with the name Katie Smith on it. And that's when she knew something felt wrong.
And let's also insert right here
yes.
that when Sarah Brady walks into Katie's bedroom, she sees a framed cover, like ripped off of a magazine, and it's the women of Sex and the City. And their faces are scratched out, and there's names written above each person, and one of the names that she sees is Sarah, which, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Okay. Okay.
But so,
And she had this framed?
Yeah, she said it was framed.
It's like psychotic.
I know. And she's thinking, that's odd. Like, that's weird. And as soon as she was about to, I don't know if she was about to take a step or just kind of, follow Katie wherever she was going or whatever, Katie says to her, "Why are you carrying your keys? Is that your security blanket?" And that was another thing that Sarah was like, that's weird. Like, why would you ask somebody that?
Man, she's throwing down these red flags left and right.
Yeah. But then, I mean, some people are just awkward and weird.
That's true. I mean, oh my gosh.
But then...
That picture, hanging up.
I could not imagine what
Wouldn't
was
she
going
think
through
to take that
Sarah's-
down before she had company come over and see that and think, huh,
that might make me look a little crazy.
that's a little weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, but so Sarah did have that feeling that something wasn't right and said, quote, "Why I looked at it, why I saw it, I'll never know." And she said that in an interview.
About the inhaler.
Yes. But noticing that detail likely saved her life.
Mm-hmm.
Before Sarah could listen to her instinct and leave the apartment, Katie collapsed on the floor and claimed that she was going into labor. And then Sarah helped Katie into the bathroom. Suddenly, Sarah says Katie gave her a look that confirmed what her inner voice was trying to tell her. She said, quote, "She looked up at me with this just dead look on her face. To this day, it makes me sick even thinking about it. The evil that poured out of her," end quote.
And I saw somewhere else where she said it was like this demonic face.
Mm.
And she had like this, Oprah asked her about, like the things that were, like, you get those like you said, the red flags or like those little
Just says,
things in the pit of your stomach that tell you.
yes.
Sarah was saying, like, you should listen, pay attention to that.
Listen to
Yeah.
your inner voice,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what.
Yeah, she said, like, and this isn't word for word, but, she's like, go with your gut. And she said that the hairs on her arms stood up. There was like a rush and she felt chills and there was like in the pit of her stomach. So
Mm.
I just
This
can't
is the
imagine.
problem. We have that instinct, like all of us do. And the problem with us is that we're all so nice and we're so
Mhm.
worried about hurting someone's feelings.
Yes.
That could cause permanent damage to, it could be fatal. It could be a fatal decision to be nice. So
Yeah.
always listen to your instinct and stay alive. Always. It doesn't matter if you're being mean about it, if you hurt someone's feelings, none of that. Always listen to your inner voice.
Like a couple of our fellow former cop friends say, listen to your gut.
Yes, always. Or die. No, they don't say that, but listen to your gut or die. So, where was I? Okay, yeah, evil poured out of her.
Yes. Evil face.
Evil face. So when Sarah was getting ready to leave, Katie asked if she could give her new friend, air quotes, friend, a hug. But before Sarah could answer no, Katie embraced her and began squeezing her tight.
And mind you, she's like thinking in her head, no, I want to just leave.
Yes. At that moment, Katie reached inside of her pocket and pulled out a knife. And she said, "You're not going anywhere." According to Sarah, Katie threatened to kill her and she fought back. Fort Mitchell, Kentucky police officer Steve Henley stated she was able to knock the, quote. This is what he quoted. She was able to knock the knife out of her hand and it ultimately hit the floor for a short time. End quote. The two fought intensely for about 20 minutes. Police say that Katie retrieved the knife and again tried to stab Sarah, who managed to turn the knife on her attacker despite suffering slashes to her hands. Sarah said all she could think about was her and her baby would die in this apartment and no one was going to know about it. At that point, Sarah escaped Katie, but Katie caught Sarah by her hair and dragged her into the nursery. Brady then, Sarah Brady, you might hear me say Brady. I go back and forth. Brady then struck Smith in the head with an ashtray and grabbed the knife.
And wasn't Katie using that ashtray to hit her with first? Or was it just like a random ashtray?
I don't know. I don't know if it was just an opportunity.
That it was there.
Yeah.
And I know at some point when they were still in the living room, Sarah kind of fell over the couch or the love seat because she talked about, she was pregnant and just the energy that she had to fight.
Yes. They said it was very intense.
Mm-hmm.
So when Sarah did get the knife, she stabbed Katie 3 times.
And she didn't realize until later on that she had stabbed her 3 times. She thought it was only once.
Yes. Yeah, this is a lot when you're in the moment
Mm-hmm.
and you're fighting for your life.
In your child's life.
Yeah. And it turns out she thought she stabbed her in the shoulder. So she didn't even really know.
Where did it say where she stabbed her?
Yes, I think we'll get to that.
Okay.
Let me see here. Oh, so Sarah said, quote, "You could see the blood seeping from the top of her sweatshirt. She even looked at me and said, 'You stabbed me, you stupid bitch.'" Sarah fled the apartment without realizing Katie's condition. On the episode Snapped, I did watch that, about her experience. 911 calls from Kitten County Dispatch were played. And Katie calls and she says, "Help me. I've been stabbed. She broke in." And the 911 operator is like, "Who broke in?" And she said, "Sarah." The 911 operator asked, "Where are you bleeding from?" She responded, "I don't know." And Smith stayed on the line as she lost consciousness and eventually bled to death.
So this evil woman is still lying.
Yes.
Out of her dying breath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That her apartment got broken into. So now at the same time that this call's going on, outside of the apartment, Sarah's calling 911 for help. And she was cut, she was bruised, she was even bitten by Katie.
Bit her?
Yes. She was able to flag down the driver, though, and escape. But all she did when she called 911 was just say, "I need help," type of thing. And that was about it. So we're going to go back to Katie, her deception for everything going on. When police arrived on the scene, they found shocking evidence of Katie's deception. Inside of Katie's closet, officers found a padded belly suit with blood on it, which indicated she took this off after being stabbed, but before the police came. Because
my goodness.
Yes, because in that episode, Sarah was talking about she mentioned how Katie was pregnant, and they're like, "No, she wasn't." And she's like, "Look, she was as big as me."
Oh yeah, because Sarah even said, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing?" When they were fighting.
Yes.
She's pregnant.
Yeah, she was concerned. And they're like, "She's not pregnant." And she's like, yes, she is. And so when they found that, I mean, that tells you right there.
Oh my gosh.
She was wearing that when the fight happened and took it off before they got there. So that's why it was bloody. The police say her pregnancy was fake, and an autopsy revealed that she had never, ever been pregnant.
It was said that she had faked being pregnant like in the 8th grade.
Yes.
And then, how many people did she do this to? How many people did she try to attempt to do this to?
Exactly. Lieutenant Thomas Lowe said, and we know him personally, but anyway, he said, quote, "This is an extremely bizarre case. Katie Smith has a complete nursery set up with all furniture. She has baby clothes, diapers, formula, everything a parent expecting a newborn should have," end quote. Inside of a diaper bag, they found the most disturbing evidence yet. And inside of that, she had stocked the bag with surgical gloves, cutting instruments, medical gauze, and a homemade umbilical cord clamp.
That is the most disturbing one.
Yeah. Yeah. But despite all of this evidence, the case took a surprisingly twist, and Sarah became a murder suspect.
What was it, an hour and a half after the attack? She was given a 6.5 hour lie detector test?
Yes. So, so she becomes the focus of the investigation. Katie's family, in the meantime, was alleged that Sarah had planned to sell her baby to Katie for $5,000 and changed her mind, and that's why she killed Katie. That was their story. Sarah was also questioned by the police and had to take a 6.5 hour lie detector test, which you just said. And because of all the media attention that Sarah was getting, she had to give birth at a different hospital than she had planned to and have security outside of her door, just trying to get some peace and quiet and have her baby.
So this, like, magical thing for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She had her baby on February 16th, only 6 days after the incident. She gave birth to a healthy baby girl, Michaela Grace. After a 14-month investigation, Sarah Brady was not found at fault, and no charges were filed against her, and it was deemed a self-defense move. Now, Detective Scott Nottingham stated, quote, "There's no doubt in my mind that Katie Smith had, in fact, lured Sarah Brady to her home for the sole purpose of taking, by C-section, Sarah Brady's baby," end quote. In fact, Detective Nottingham says Sarah wasn't the only expectant mother Katie had targeted. He says Katie, who had faked 3 other pregnancies in the past, found women's personal information online on the baby registries.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is, since Katie Smith found Sarah Brady through the online baby registry, many companies, including Babies R Us, had added extra security measures to protect their customers' privacy.
Isn't it terrible, though, that something like this has to happen for those things?
So tragic.
Who would have thought?
To this day, Sarah has mixed emotions about Katie. She says, quote, "Some days I'm angry and other days I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry that she led such a horrible life, to feel that she needed this child to love her, or for whatever reason that she'd be so desperate to take the life of someone else," end quote. Sarah's advice is to always trust your instinct and inner self. When something's not right, get out. You can learn more about Sarah's experience by reading her book titled Saving Grace. Isn't that cute?
Mm-hmm. Which is named after her daughter.
Yes. Now, I'm going to switch gears, and we're going to take a deep dive into Katie's life. Okay? We're going to try to understand this girl.
Good. Learn me, because I don't know much about her.
Oh, no?
Except, there's one detail that we've already discussed, but...
Well, let me tell you, I did some research here. And as far back as middle school, Katie had an obsession with wanting a baby and would falsely tell people that she was pregnant all the time. This is middle school.
Was it like a thing, like she wanted someone to love her?
I guess. She just was obsessed. And apparently that obsession never went away.
Mm-mm.
So according to court records, Smith claimed to be a victim of childhood sexual abuse. When Katie was 17 years old, she made allegations stating she was abused from her father. In 2001, her father, Timothy Smith, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for first-degree sodomy involving Katie as a child. Yikes. Relatives told WCPO that she would often pretend to be ill and pregnant, and some believe that she made up those sexual abuse allegations.
It's hard to know what to believe.
Yes. So Smith didn't have the the best work history. She previously worked at St. Elizabeth Medical Center in Edgewood, Kentucky for 15 months before she was fired. I couldn't find out the reason why she was fired due to they wouldn't give that information out, the staff. She also worked as a nanny, which you said, and was fired almost 3 months before her death when the employer began to doubt that she was pregnant. Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the same one that she stole the pictures from.
That's what I'm wondering too.
Mm-hmm.
So Katie's dad, Timothy Smith, had maintained his innocence from the beginning, and his other daughters denied any abuse from him at all. And partly as a result of what happened with Katie and her mental state, the Kentucky Innocence Project petitioned the court to grant her father a new trial. In 2016, after serving 5 years, the court overturned Smith's 2001 conviction, citing his lawyers failed to properly challenge Katie's claim and repressed memories.
So he's
got out.
He's free.
Yeah, he's free. After learning about all her deception after the death with all the pregnancies and almost trying to kill somebody and take your baby. They did not challenge this when they were convicting him. Like, they weren't looking into it like they should have.
So basically, because she said it happened, they just went with it.
Yes. Yeah. Without even questioning her or him or
more in-depth.
Like, there wasn't
investigation.
it was not a fair trial.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it got dismissed. Now, I watched the Snap episode. You watched the I Survived episode.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find out any more than like what we talked about in here? Did anything stand out to you?
That's where I learned about the pictures, like the Sarah or the Sex and the City pictures where she scratched out the faces. She was a little bit more descriptive. Like, I mean, this girl was screaming at Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
She said it was, what was it she said? She was like screaming at her, but she wasn't like crazy screaming.
Oh.
Like I think she said it was more like she was calm, but like yelling at her, like.
Interesting.
Yeah, but she was like screaming at her like, you effing bitch, and things like that. You're not going anywhere. And it was like 30 minutes, I believe, that Sarah had tried to get out of the house.
Now, did they show the knife or like what kind of knife it was in the episode? Because it looked like in the episode of Snap, and it almost looked like a little pocket knife. It didn't look like, well, not a small, but it wasn't like a huge.
Well, I guess it would have had to been something for her to conceal in her pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. And from what I understand, like, I think that Sarah even carried it outside and threw it down outside with her when she came out for help.
Oh.
From the episode, it looked like it.
You know what? One little thing that I just forgot that I remembered was that after the first phone call when Sarah Brody called Sarah, she receives the second phone call, and how you're talking about she's telling her husband about this person and might have a new friend, and he's saying, oh, that's nice or whatever. Well, I guess her brother-in-law was there when they were discussing this, and she said what's weird is her brother-in-law said he didn't feel right about that. He thought it was weird or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like just only the little other thing that I can think of that was different.
Yeah, the only other thing that was different on the one I watched was they talked a little bit more about Sarah's background. She seemed like, I think she went to Holmes High School. Mm-hmm. She was a cheerleader, good student. Her and her fiance were together for many, many years.
Wasn't he, didn't he work at construction?
Yeah, I think he did. He already had a child, and she, took that child as her own.
Aww.
Yeah. So
just a typical hardworking family.
Yeah. And I think it even mentioned that he thought something was a little off. But, I mean, you don't really know.
Yeah.
That's
And I mean,
scary.
we got to remember too, this was 2005.
Yeah.
I mean, it was what, 16 years ago.
Right.
But even then, things weren't as, I guess you just don't think people were as hateful back then as they are now. And I know that's like
I know.
negative to say, but
Well, I was even thinking, and again, this is probably stereotyping, but
right.
When you're going to a neighborhood like Fort Mitchell,
You just don't,
you don't think that this crazy person's going to live, because it is a nice city. It's a nice place to live in Northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and no matter what state or what city you're in, you just know that there's places that you shouldn't go to.
Right. And that's
Fort
not
Mitchell's
one of
not
them.
one of them,
Right.
no.
Yeah, that's not one. It's not one that you would lock your doors when you're driving down the street.
Right.
No. So that even crossed my mind too. Like, I wouldn't have thought.
Man, this vicious girl, though, was, I don't want to
She
call her
was-
smart, but just the idea of her to say, oh, my name is Sarah Brody.
Mm-hmm. And she ordered things off of this girl's baby registry to trick her that somebody actually got on there and ordered the things that she wanted. She really went into detail.
Yeah, that extra mile.
She really did.
You know, one thing I'm glad about is that Sarah didn't have to sit through a trial, right? She didn't have to deal with that.
No, but I mean, she still had to deal with the 14-month investigation while having a child and that. I mean, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they assumed it was self-defense, but they have to check everything out.
Right. And her sitting there, you know, through the lie detector test and all this.
Yeah. That's tough. That is tough. And if you think about it, so her kid, this was 16 years ago. So her kid's like 16 now?
Was the baby born? Well, I think you're right, because wasn't the baby born in 2005? Because it happened in 2005.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Right.
Because the Oprah episode that she appeared on was in 2006.
Yeah. Yeah, she was on Oprah. She was on Good Morning America. And then, she had the episode on Snapped, and then she had the episode on I Survived. I wish I would have watched the I Survived one. I really
might have
liked
to go back and watch it, because she's another. Some of the women that we've discussed on here so far, strong.
Yeah, and she looks very familiar. I mean, we're all.
One thing that I noticed about her was like, oh my gosh,
your Wi-Fi name or password has changed.
No, it hasn't.
Didn't it do this to us last time?
It did. Why is it doing that? We're not even saying anything. Ignore that.
I loved her hair, though.
Oh, I know.
She has the prettiest hair.
She does. It's
naturally
all
curly.
Dark, curly. It's so pretty. I hope that she was able to, I don't know, move on from that. And that had to create some trauma. It had to.
Yeah, she kind of touched on, I believe, on Oprah, didn't she, about how it was not easy for her knowing that she took someone's life. But, I mean, I guess I don't look at it that way. She defended her daughter. She fought for her daughter.
She did. And that's where, in the beginning, where I said that she said maternal instinct gave her the strength to fight off and kill her from taking her baby. I think there was another one I watched, the same kind of thing, and I think it was a different one. So maybe that's why I was thinking it was in Kentucky. But I think this one, the person did cut her open, and she was like holding all her insides in and running out of the apartment and stuff. And that might have been an I Survived one too. I'm not sure. But apparently this is not a one case thing. This has happened.
Yeah.
to several people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one was like free clothes from Craigslist or something. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure, but
Plus, like before that, those crazy people would just steal the babies out of the hospital.
yeah, that's true too. So I did want to save a little shout out for my daughter, Alexis. She not only is like one of the most dedicated listeners, but she is really being creative with this whole podcast and creating these really cool like coasters, and it's on our Facebook page. You should really look at them. They're really cute. It's hard telling what else she's going to get into when it comes to that.
They're the coolest.
They're so neat.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, definitely check out our Facebook.
And I love how she did them in different shapes.
Yes, she's getting it down.
Mm-hmm. And it's not the Operation Evil. It's a Zelda one, but I love it.
Yeah, and I have another one. It's like a beach theme with shells and stuff in it. It's really cute.
She does such a good job on these.
Yes, and these are just so special. So I definitely recommend checking it out. Who knows? Maybe you could place an order with her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
How do we find her on TikTok or something like that? Or what you got a link?
She is on TikTok. Yeah, I think I do have a link where she'll see it if somebody wants to order.
And maybe if we remember, Nyoka, if Nyoka remembers, she can put that link with this episode too.
That's a good idea. Yeah. And that's about it. Do you want to give any shout outs?
Crickets.
Insert cricket sounds right now. Nope.
No.
You're like, no, I'm good.
Brain went dead.
Oh, I will say that even though I was super depressed about my birthday last week when we did this, I had a really good time. Everybody coming out and celebrating.
She had a super good time.
I had a super good time. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I was a little depressed last week about becoming old. Yeah. But we have Rachel's birthday coming up soon, so we're going to have to do something fun for that.
I'm going to be 30.
Yep. We'll go with that. Sounds good to me. Yeah, so that's it. And thank you guys again for listening. We'll be back next week with I don't know what episode, but I dropped hints on this one, so I will do that again for next week.
As soon as we decide.
As soon as we know. We also got really cool silicone bracelets. You can see those on our Facebook page as well. And that is all. So until next week, this is Nyoka.
And this is Rachel.
And you just listened to Operation Evil. Bye.